The first scream came just as the school bell finished echoing across the cracked concrete yard, sharp and small and terrified, the kind of sound that didn't belong in a place meant for children, and Ethan Cross felt it hit his chest like a rifle round because combat had taught him something most people never learned: fear has a frequency, and that scream carried it perfectly, so he turned before anyone else did, his instincts snapping awake even though he'd promised himself he was done with that life, done scanning crowds, done calculating threats, done being a Navy SEAL, because now he was just a dad picking up his daughter. But the past never listens to promises, and as Ethan's eyes locked onto the far corner of the yard, he saw 3 boys surrounding a small girl with a backpack too big for her shoulders, her shoes scuffed, her hair tied back with a ribbon that had already come loose, and she was backing away until her spine hit the chain-link fence and there was nowhere left to go. The biggest boy leaning in close, his voice cruel and loud enough for others to hear, mocking her clothes, her accent, her silence, while the other 2 laughed and shoved her bag to the ground, books spilling like secrets exposed, and Ethan felt his jaw tighten, not with rage yet but with something colder, something controlled, because rage was sloppy and he had learned long ago that precision saved lives, and before he moved he glanced to his left where his daughter Lily stood clutching her notebook, her blue eyes wide, whispering, "Daddy, please help her," and that was it, that was the moment the war came home, because no enemy had ever scared him the way disappointment in his daughter's eyes would have, and he squeezed her shoulder gently, voice calm, "Stay here, sweetheart," then walked forward, not fast, not slow, but with the confidence of a man who had cleared rooms under fire, and people noticed, teachers noticed, parents noticed, because there was something about the way he moved that said authority without words, and the bullies noticed too late, because Ethan's shadow fell across them and the laughter died, the biggest boy sneering up at him, "Mind your business, old man," and Ethan smiled slightly, not friendly, not cruel, just certain, and said quietly, "It became my business the second you trapped someone who couldn't fight back," and when the boy shoved the girl again, Ethan moved, one smooth step, one firm grip on the boy's wrist, twisting just enough to drop him to his knees without breaking anything, because this was a schoolyard, not a battlefield, and the second boy rushed him and Ethan sidestepped, using the kid's own momentum to spin him into the fence, pinning him there with a forearm across the chest, controlled, precise, while the third froze in place, fear finally understanding what his brain had refused to process, that this man was different, and Ethan leaned close, voice low, "Run," and the boy didn't need to be told twice. Sprinting away, while teachers finally arrived shouting, but by then it was over, Ethan stepping back, hands open, calm, as if nothing extraordinary had happened, while the first boy scrambled away clutching his wrist, humiliation burning brighter than pain, and Ethan turned to the girl who still stood frozen, eyes wide, breathing shallow, and he crouched to her level, picking up her books one by one, handing them to her like fragile treasures, asking softly, "Are you hurt?" and she shook her head, tears finally spilling as delayed fear took its toll, whispering, "Thank you, sir," and something in her voice broke him in a place no explosion ever had, because it reminded him of Lily the night her mother died, small and shaking and trying to be brave, and as he stood and walked her toward the teachers he felt Lily slip her hand into his, proud, safe, watching everything, and that night at home Lily wouldn't stop talking about the girl, how scared she looked, how alone, how she didn't even have friends yet, and Ethan listened while cooking dinner, nodding, but his mind kept replaying the way the girl flinched at raised voices, the way she watched every movement like danger might return at any second, signs he recognized too well, and the next day he saw her again sitting alone on a bench, eating nothing, eyes down, and when Lily waved she barely smiled, and something inside Ethan refused to let it go, refused to treat it as just another problem handled and forgotten, because some missions don't end when the shooting stops, and over the following days he noticed more, the bruises she tried to hide, the way she waited until everyone else left before standing, the way teachers assumed she was quiet rather than scared, and Ethan felt a familiar responsibility settle on his shoulders, the weight of someone else's safety, and it scared him more than any deployment because this time it wasn't orders, it was choice, and one afternoon as he waited for Lily he overheard the bullies again, whispering threats about what would happen if the girl talked, and Ethan realized stopping them once wasn't enough, predators retreat and return unless stopped properly, and that night as Lily slept he sat alone on the porch, staring into the dark, remembering his old commander's words about protecting those who can't protect themselves, remembering the oath he thought he'd left behind, and he didn't know yet how far this path would take him, didn't know it would change all their lives forever, but he knew one thing with absolute clarity: some children don't need sympathy, they need someone who refuses to look away, and as the wind moved through the trees Ethan made a silent promise, one he would keep no matter the cost, and if you're listening to this story and you feel that tightening in your chest, that pull toward justice, remember to stand with stories like this by subscribing to the channel, because these aren't just stories, they're reminders of who we should be. When someone whispers, "Please help her," and expects the world to answer,